Welcome back to my channel. It's Liesl. Today we are planting a garden for an apartment complex. When you can't dig in the ground, what do? You have to make do with what you got. So I planted in a kiddie pool. I also planted in some storage bins, and I can do an in-depth video on how I did those if you guys would like to. But today is all about this planting in a kiddie pool. So if you want to see how I did it, just keep watching. Alright, so I started off my project at the Dollar Tree, as always, and it's going to be a little funny, but we're getting pool noodles for this project. So I got 5 pool noodles and checked out, and it was super quick and easy. And looking back, I probably would have gotten maybe 6 or 7. It would have worked out a little bit better, so just keep that in mind. And this is my ugly car. That car is older than I am, you guys. And then I drove down the road, down to Walmart, and I went into Walmart to get my soil. I already had my kiddie pool. I bought that when I could find one because they're so hard to find. As soon as, they come in, they're gone. So I grabbed this garden soil, and I grabbed some topsoil as well. I did 2 bags of topsoil, 3 bags of garden soil. And in total with the pool noodles and the soil, I spent about $22. And then the pool was probably about 10. Then I had to carry everything into the house, and I'm a weakling, so I had to carry them one at a time, so it took forever, and I was hot and sweaty by the time I was done. But you just gotta get it done. You gotta work. And this was the last bag. So here I had it all laid out in the backyard. Here I have some kitchen scraps. I'll go over that more in a second. But I started off with my pool. This is my pool. I had my other plants sitting in it for the last couple weeks until it was warm enough for me to plant my watermelon seeds and my cucumbers. And so I started off by taking those bins out of the pool and setting them aside so we could start filling up our pool. My next step was I took these pool noodles and I took a serrated knife and I just cut them into chunks. Basically just a couple of inches, and they don't have to be all the same size. It really doesn't matter, and I just cut them all down so that they could be a nice even layer at the bottom of the pool. And this provides excellent drainage for the soil. And since they have holes in the middle, the soil will drain even better. And this just helps so that the soil is not just sitting on the bottom of the pool and getting gunky and gross. This will just help drain out the water a little bit. And then I am going to drill some holes into the pool. I might also just use my soldering iron. I haven't decided yet, so that there's a little bit more drainage, and it'll just help out on the moisture level of your plants. So I started off with the first bag of topsoil. Then I put the garden soil on top of that, making sure to kind of be careful with putting it all down so that I don't move around the pool noodles too much, so that those can kind of stay where I placed them. And then I kind of broke up some of the chunks that were in the garden soil. It was nice and moist, so that was great. And I just broke those up and smoothed it out a little bit. Now I've got kitchen scraps. This is really anything that you could grow and that used to be a plant is a good way to think about it. So I have celery sticks, I've got asparagus, I've got old lettuce, I've got banana peels, eggshells. Eggshells are good for calcium. Obviously those aren't plants, but anything like that you can put in. This is just going to help add so much nutrition and just sustainability to your soil, help it contain all the nutrients that your plants are going to need to thrive and survive and grow nice and beautiful vegetables. So I put all of that down first, and then I added the next bag of topsoil on top of it and covered up all of those veggies. And since you put soil on top of it, it's not going to stink up your yard or anything like that, so don't worry about that. Then the last step was to add the last 2 bags of garden soil. I just put that straight on top, and my back hurt so bad when I was done with this, you guys. Like I said, I'm a weakling, so it was hard to carry all of these, the dirt bags back and forth and then dump them into the pool and everything. But it's worth it because we're going to get delicious veggies from this. And this is just such a great way to grow vegetables in your backyard, because if you don't have a ton of room and you can't dig in the ground, this is a great way to do a portable garden bed without spending tons of money on a raised bed, because those can be hundreds of dollars. And this is what it turned out to look like. It was nice and full and ready for seeds. Then I mounded up some of the dirt because I was planting cucumbers and watermelons. And then I had a little bit of snap peas left over from my other garden boxes that I did. So I did a straight line of snap peas down the middle of the pool so that I could put some trellises in there and help those grow straight up and down. And I put those just a couple inches apart. I used my 2 fingers to kind of measure. It's not, any scientific thing. I just did it so that, they could be somewhat evenly spaced. And I just put a couple in each of those holes. And then I covered the soil up on top of those. And my next step was to take my cucumber seeds, and I planted about 6 to 8 of those per mound. I just kind of poked like 3 holes in each mound, and I just dropped a couple seeds in each and then covered those holes up. I don't really know the science behind why you put them in mounds. I just know that I was supposed to, so that's what I did. And if I could go back and do this again, I would have poked the holes a little bit deeper. I barely poked the holes in them, and I realized as I've been watering it that the seeds will kind of start to show through because they're pretty shallow in the dirt. So I would have poked the holes a lot deeper if I did it again. So keep that in mind for whenever you do it. Then I did my watermelon seeds. I basically did those the same way, did 6 to 10 seeds in each mound, and kind of put the soil back on top of them. And I had a couple extra watermelon seeds when I was done, and so I just kind of planted them around the mounds, and we'll see how those grow since they're not going to be in the mounds of dirt. I was kind of curious to see how that would turn out, so that's kind of why I decided to go with that. But then that was pretty much it. I just covered all of the holes up and made sure that the seeds were, down far enough that they weren't going to just come right up as soon as I watered it. And then I grabbed my watering can and I gave them all a good, nice soak and gave them some, good water to help start those seeds off. And that was pretty much it. It's super easy, super cheap. If you were to get a garden bed online or in the store or whatever, you could spend upwards of $200 on this. And this is just a super cheap, quick, easy way to do a raised garden bed in your backyard if you don't have a ton of money. Or if you do have money and you just don't care to spend hundreds of dollars on a raised garden bed, because I kind of understand that. And I just watered them all, gave them a nice good drink. I watered some water around the mounds too, just to kind of help soak it all together. And then I watered the center of the snap peas. And it looked kind of funny when I was done because I have all these random mounds of dirt and then just this one strip of water in the middle of it. But I figured I didn't need to water all of the soil because we just had to get the seeds growing first. And then once the plants are established and stuff, then I'll add more water around them and stuff so the roots can get some water. But right now I figured this is fine because all we need to do is get the seeds wet and get them to start sprouting. So that's it, you guys. If you do recreate this, make sure to tag me in it at Little Liesl Creations, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!